Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. On this page, I talk about technology and money, sometimes trending topics, sometimes I talk about hockey. But yeah, welcome, and welcome also to all the new subscribers. Glad you all are here, that the algorithm brought you here. Yeah, you're welcome here. All right, so let me turn off my banner. I hope everyone is having a good weekend. So I wanted to come on and do a different take on the Shirley Strawberry situation. I've seen multiple takes from different YouTubers, not too much over on TikTok. I know it's over there. I'm just not in that algorithm on TikTok. Yeah, interested in dating and marrying men who earn less income. I'm going to share an article that I actually came across at the beginning of this month about it's about marrying men who earn less income. I added on the tag of dating as well. And also I'm going to share a TikTok here. But if you haven't yet, please do like the video and also share it. Liking and sharing does two things. It helps this content reach more people who may find it interesting and engaging, and it encourages me to continue making content. So one thing I will say, my take is to start no bashing on the men. Okay, I've seen the comments in some of the other YouTubers lives or videos about the Shirley Strawberry situation. There's been a lot of man bashing and also women bashing, like calling her dumb and stupid. We don't do that on my channel. This is an inclusive environment. So I've seen negative comments about men on some of the other videos I did about, women breadwinners or women in money and things like that, or men who earn less income. I delete those comments and I also block those people, right? Because it's just unnecessary. Okay, you could take that to another channel. It does not belong here. But also, I'm not going to bash Shirley Strawberry. Now, her husband is allegedly a criminal, so I'm not going to get on her. I'm not in his favor, because allegedly he's been incarcerated for over a year for some financial crimes, as I understand. Allegedly some crimes against children, as well as some crimes against animals. I won't go into the details. If you have not heard or not familiar who Shirley Strawberry is, she is a very well-known radio host on the Steve Harvey show. She had been married for six to 8 years to a man who who has been locked up for some crimes. Apparently he has a history of that as well. Heard the calls that she has been making to him, or he has been making to her while he has been incarcerated. Someone has released them. She has said some things about folks in her family, things about Steve Harvey, things about his wife that are not favorable. They're not horrible, what she said about Steve Harvey and his wife, but I mean, they're just things she maybe should not have said on a recorded line, or if at all, maybe in a confidential type situation with her family and friends, but definitely not on a recorded line. Somebody released like a good amount of the jail calls, which you can find here on YouTube if you want to go listen. Phone calls from prison has a lot of them, as well as Chronicle Speaks has done recaps as well. So yes, and so that's what's going on with that. So I want to say, I don't want to bash Shirley Strawberry. I think in her situation, because we don't know what she knew and when about her husband, but the big thing is a lot of us, myself, folks, and my family and friends have made relationship decisions regarding their partners, whether male or female. They haven't always been smart, right? I've been a fool in a relationship. I know many people have, and so I'm not going to sit up here and call her dumb and stupid and all of that. Just for that. Now, her husband being a criminal, allegedly that's a whole nother situation. I won't don't have any thoughts or comments about that. But I do want to say we just need to consider that everyone makes mistakes and make bad decisions in relationships. This is not a relationship channel. There are definitely channels out there that does love and relationships commentary. But I am going to talk about women breadwinners and money, right? Because in this situation, she apparently was the breadwinner, dating and marrying men who earn less income, and the impact that can have on your finances. I've done a few videos about that before, but I came across a study that was released earlier this year and also published in the Businesswoman Journal magazine, and I'll pull it up here in a second. But we have to be really careful when, as women, regardless of how you date, if you are in traditional or cishet relationships or LGBTQIA relationships, dating and marrying men who earn less income. It could definitely have an impact on you, on that, right? And I got a few comments here. Let me share that really quickly. Hey, Leela Rose, thank you for all the replay games. I'm hoping not to be here too long today. So welcome and good afternoon. And then Shirley, greetings to you as well. So I'm going to start with this TikTok now, because I got my article and all of that together last night. Now I won't share the study because every time I pull up the study on my computer, it locks it up. But I'll share the article about because I haven't seen any of the other YouTubers talk about this article that talks about the well-being penalty on men and women when women are the breadwinners and the man earns less income. And this research that is fresh and brand new, and I haven't seen any, not to say just because I haven't seen it that it's not out there, but I haven't seen any of the other YouTubers talk about it. Okay, so first I came across this TikTok last night. Really interesting. Now I didn't plan to, because I was getting my stuff together, like getting the article, make sure I had the article ready and the research ready and all that to talk about. I just so happened to come across this TikTok last night about women dating men who make less money than them, or men who are unemployed. Now, y'all know I'm a nurse, so I think about from the perspective of nurses. And this TikTok is less than a minute, so I'm just going to play it real quickly because it is related to this topic, and it also is related to this Shirley Strawberry situation. Hopefully, y'all can hear it. If you can't hear it, just let me know by putting by saying something in the comments. Okay, here we go. It's a very short TikTok.
Nurses, I keep telling y'all that there are some men who...
Can y'all hear that okay? Hopefully you can. Let's see. Hopefully y'all can hear that okay. All right, so let me go back to it. Okay. And start from the beginning. Here we go.
Nurses, I keep telling y'all that there are some men who will literally only want to date you because they view you as a paycheck. I just saw a video that I literally refuse to include here and glorify with a stitch. But it was a man basically just saying that he saw how much a nurse makes. I don't know how he accessed, what her check was. And I looked at this man's page. He's unemployed. He's attempting to start his rap career. And I don't know what real value he could add to a household. But somewhere there is a woman who's going to accept that. Start telling these men that y'all work for the sanitation department. Because if he starts to add up your check before he adds up what he can add to you, what qualities he likes about you, if you're even compatible, it's a recipe for disaster, and I'm sick of y'all getting used. Nurses.
Okay. So yeah, that was just really, okay, great. Y'all can hear it. So this situation is so real, y'all. Now I know the official Candace Kelly and Bourbon Bougie and a couple of other YouTubers and TikTokers have talked about the nurse in the purse situation. Y'all, when I tell you that is really real, I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for many years. It's truly real. There are men who will target you because they know the earning potential of registered nurses, especially if you're like a travel nurse or if you work overtime or etc. You know, there are nurses, nurse anesthesiologists, or nurse anesthetists. There are nurses that easily clear 250K a year, easily 300K and up. So you just have to be real careful. So the different take and the consideration on this whole Shirley Strawberry situation: women breadwinners and money, and marrying and or dating men who earn less income. So my take in consideration is based off this research that I came across here. Let me go ahead and just share it really quickly. Okay, that was in Biz Women. So Biz Journals, or Biz Women, is a business journal that I have been following for years. Their website, you can sign up for their newsletters, but they let you know everything that's happening for business women. Like, I don't own a business, but I like to know what's happening in the world of business for just women across the United States and what's going on. And then they also share a lot of research. They also share some resources and other things. They have like events and stuff like that. And you can do a digest like once a week or once a day, etc. But they did this article on this study that these researchers found that men pay a well-being penalty when women are the breadwinners. And when they say breadwinners, this is when in that relationship, the woman earns more income than the man, or the woman earns all of the income, and the impact that it can have on their partner's well-being, like how they feel. Because we've seen videos from folks say, oh, you know, I don't mind if my wife or my girlfriend earns more money than me. It doesn't bother me. But does it really not bother them? Okay. So this study, now, anytime I read research, I always like to read like how many people was included in it, or what's the, they call it the N, like N as in need, like how many people they surveyed, etc. I think this one had a good amount. I want to say at least 5,000. Again, I won't pull up the study. I'll be sure to link it in the description after this video. For some reason, because the length of the study and all, I guess with all the graphs and things, it locks up my computer, but I'll be sure to leave it as a resource so you all can read more on it later when you have time. Also, this study done on men and women was done in Europe. Okay, so I wanted to also put that because that's, to me, that is a different country. So I want to put that out there. And then also I've read through the demographics of the research participants for men and women, and I did not see that. Maybe there, I didn't see it where if they talked about the demographics of like race. If all the people were of European descent, or if there are any people of African descent, or Middle Eastern, etc. So I did not see that. So I just want to put that out there. But anyway, okay, so let's real quickly read over it. It says, the study shows that in relationships where women are the primary or sole breadwinner, the men's well-being tends to be lower compared to situations where both partners are employed or the man is the breadwinner. Now, one thing that was interesting about this, and this article is going to talk about it when it talks about some of the outcomes, is that the men in this study, they had lower well-being when their women, they didn't feel as good when their women earned more or were the primary income earners in the relationship. But they actually, in contrast, many of them, them being the men, actually felt better when their women did not work and he was the primary breadwinner. So anyway, so they talked about who the researchers were, and bring forth the concept of a female breadwinner well-being mentality, meaning that the life satisfaction is lower when the woman is the breadwinner versus the man is the sole, main, or joint one. And some interesting thing about the demographics, it also, anyway, let me just go into it. Okay. All right. So it says that the data shows that while this penalty is narrower when the man is part-time employed, right? So the well-being penalty is like less when the man at least works part-time when the woman earns more money. It is when he is bigger when he doesn't have a job, or or especially if he is unemployed. I don't know the difference between jobless and unemployed. To me, I thought maybe they would be the same thing, but the researchers define jobless and unemployed as two different things. But it says that the men actually feel better when he at least has a part-time job. Now, it's not as high, right? But when he doesn't have a job, but yeah, so like working is good for them according to this research. Okay, so let's get into some of the outcomes. So what they did was they measured results on the scale from 0, meaning extreme dissatisfaction, to 10, representing utmost contentment. And they found that the majority of the participants reported scores ranging between 5 and 8, reflected a general level of moderate satisfaction. However, the research pinpointed intrigue and variations in men's reported life satisfaction depending on their financial roles within the relationships. Now, I know my grandparents, my grandma has always told me that it's really good for people to have, if you are able, oh, sorry, let me make this all the way big. There we go. Yeah, take that away. To at least do something if you are able to work and willing to work, because it just, at least that's what my grandma and my granddaddy used to say. It just gives you like a sense of purpose, even if it's just a little job, it just gives you a sense of purpose. It's just not good for someone just to sit around and lay around and do nothing all day. If they have the ability to do so, it's good to at least hold a job, do something, a little part-time job doing something. Okay, so some of the interesting outcomes. So in the situation when the woman was the sole earning position, meaning she earned all the money in the relationship, the men only had a life satisfaction score of 5.86. Now, it did go up. That's what I was talking about. So it increased when men were the primary earners in the relationship, hinting at a link between financial contributions and personal identity, meaning they felt better, they being the men felt better when they earned more money in the relationship than their woman, which I was talking about earlier. They talked about the contrasting responses of men and women to unemployment scenarios. Men appeared to experience higher levels of well-being when their female partners were unemployed, meaning the men felt better when their wife, girlfriend, or their partner was not working, while women, for themselves, their satisfaction remained consistent regardless of if their partner's employment status, meaning the women didn't care if their man was unemployed or jobless. The women themselves still had a moderate level of satisfaction. It didn't change, hinting at the resilience they exhibit in navigating challenging circumstances. Now, here's where it talked about the lower income, right? Okay, so the research also underscored the financial implications of female breadwinner couples, typically characterized by lower household incomes. These couples often face difficulties coping with their financial situation. So this is the situation is not only is the woman the female breadwinner, primary breadwinner, or she earns all the money, they also have overall the income for the household is lower. Like I don't know what the definition of lower, like if it's less than 50,000 or 40,000, it will be in the research. But it also had a higher prevalence of poor health. It was linked to that. And also lower education levels among the men in such relationships contributed to decreased life satisfaction scores. So not only the woman earning more than the man, or she is the primary or only breadwinner in the household, but her income is low as well. But it also links to health for the couple, right? And then also with the man or the men in this research having lower education levels. And again, I didn't see where they went further into demographics beyond male and female in terms of cultural backgrounds. They noted that the earnings penalty for female breadwinners is largely influenced by the secondary position in the market, in the labor market. So as women often reduce work for needs such as caregiving, leading to less job experience and seniority. In addition, some female breadwinners become so due to economic hardship, acting as emergency breadwinners, meaning maybe their partner, their male partner was the primary breadwinner, and something happened. Maybe the couple didn't have savings, or maybe their male partner, he got hurt or something, and then all of a sudden the woman has to work, and it just impacts that man's well-being. And then the results also suggest that men's adaptation to changing gender roles lags women's adaptation. So that's really big, because you all think about how much has changed, especially with over the past 3 years with the pandemic. With, at least I'm speaking culturally for Black women, as Black women are earning more, taking on more at work, education levels, it's changing a lot in terms of gender roles, and the women are adapting, but the men seem to be lagging in adapting to this changing gender role, in terms of being able to accept the fact that, yes, my partner, or the partners or the people that I'm partnering with and marrying is making more money than me. And what that means. So it says men continue to attach great importance to being the breadwinner rather than the one who stays at home. Further progress toward changing gender norms around breadwinner and the domestic sphere is critical, especially since more and more families are likely to experience female breadwinning amid increased labor market insecurity. Okay, y'all, I really wish I could pull up the study, because the study had even more interesting comparisons between men and women when the woman was the primary breadwinner or the only breadwinner, and what that meant for their male partner. So it's just something to consider, y'all, especially as we're looking at this Shirley Strawberry situation. I've seen a couple of other YouTubers talk about, okay, again, because I don't want to bash Shirley Strawberry, because I know I've been a fool for a man. All of my friends have, many of my cousins and aunties, but we learn from that, right? And I know other people. So not talking bad about her, definitely not excusing him as a criminal, because that's a whole nother situation, but giving her some grace and thinking about, as we're going out, especially if we're single or if we're married, going out and dating, if your man earns less income, or if he's not working, considering, he may say, oh, I don't mind a woman making more money than me, right? And her being the primary. But how does that impact? Like, saying it is one thing, but like how that impact his feelings and emotions and contributions as a man, as based on this research study and the data. And in their outcomes, they do delve in more to like the emotions and like how it really does impact the men and make them feel. So it gives us an opportunity, as we know these things, if we're in this situation, if we decide to go into that situation, really having an open and honest conversation with our partner, say, okay, I, as the woman, make $225,000 a year, and you, as my male partner, you make $85,000 a year. You say you're okay with that, but are you really? Right? Would that come up in a therapy type conversation or a couples counseling? I don't know. I'm just giving this as a different take on Shirley Strawberry and marrying men or dating men who earn less income. Char Willie said, did that, done that, got the t-shirt. Listen, I did it. I've never married a man who earned less income, but I definitely dated a man who earned less income. He said it didn't matter in the beginning, but then even if I didn't talk about it, I don't talk about, at least in that situation, I didn't talk about how much. I never told a man how much I make. I just don't do that, because I just feel like it's not necessary if they're not my husband. But it wasn't a problem in the beginning, but then it played out. Even though I did not talk about it, I'm living my life, doing what I like to do, getting my nails. I still get my nails done every 2 weeks, and my hair done, and etc. And some people see that, and it really does make them feel away, especially if they're not able to keep up, or if you are traveling and they can't travel with you, and if they're not your fiance, or your husband, and they can't travel, they can't go where you can go, right? They're not able to, or they're not able to finance the whole thing. That may make them feel away. It's interesting how things can play out, right? And this research says that it does impact their emotions. It can, right? Even if they say it does not. And again, I want to put that disclaimer out there. I don't think they put the demographics to say who was of African descent, because this research was done in Europe across multiple European countries, but I didn't see where they defined if any of these men or women were had any African or Middle Eastern descent. It may be there, but the research was very long, and there were some other outcomes as well. Yeah, y'all, that's it. Thanks for the few that tuned in. If you do catch the replay, would love to hear you put your comments in the chat. Let me know that you replayed. If you haven't liked or shared the video, please do. Thank y'all as always for tuning in and being respectful. And I will see you in the next video. Have a good rest of your day. Bye now.